Welcome to another installment of Deconstructing Babylon, where we discern the signs and symbols of the mystery religion of Hollywood Babylon. I'm the Discerning Clerk, and I use a biblical framework to deconstruct my favorite movies from the 90s. I'm so grateful you found my channel, either by searching, subscribing, or by some miracle, the algorithm. My content is geared towards people who have been awakened to the truth, who have the understanding that there is a great deception in the world and in the church. If you're anything like me, movies are or have been an idol, and it's not easy to tear down your idols. It can be even harder to admit that you've been fooled or believed a lie. I truly sympathize with anyone going through the awakening process, but I am encouraged to know that I'm not alone. So thanks for tuning in today as we look at the late 90s high school reunion hitman comedy Grosse Pointe Blank. Released in 1997, Grosse Pointe Blank earns 4 stars from the Video Movie Guide, which says, "This delightfully dark-hued romp is a career maker for star John Cusack, quite suave as a meticulous assassin who finds business conflicting with pleasure while reluctantly attending his 10-year high school reunion. When not dodging bullets from mysterious FBI agents, foreign killers, or rival Dan Aykroyd, Cusack tries to patch things up with Minnie Driver, the girl he jilted long ago at the high school prom. The script is sharp and sassy, the action is fast and furious, and the comic tone too funny for words. Marvelous stuff for all but the easily offended. Rated R." The reviewers also failed to mention the killer soundtrack. Pun intended. Now, I don't love movies that glorify or make light of death, but I wasn't always a regenerated person, and this was a favorite of mine from years gone by. So let's see what we see in Grosse Pointe Blank. The movie opens with some contact lens solution, and we meet our main hitman, Martin Blank, who's on a job and also on the phone with his assistant, Marcella.
I'm working, Marcella.
Marcella tells Martin about his upcoming high school reunion as he takes aim at a man on a bike who is himself pulling out a weapon. Martin intervenes in this other intended assassination and then packs up his gear while declining the reunion invitation. Meanwhile, a doorman in disguise finishes the initial assassination job, much to Martin's surprise.
Well, ask them how that could possibly be my problem. I was paid for one job, the cyclist, not 2.
It turns out Martin is acquainted with the second hitman, his rival in the business, a man named Grosser.
That was fun.
That's what I'm talking about, kid. We could be working together again, for God's sake.
Marcella is concerned for Martin's well-being and continues to encourage him to go to the reunion. But Martin goes on another job instead. He tries the subtle, meticulous route, but misses and has to kill his target the old-fashioned way.
He was supposed to look like a heart attack. He was supposed to die in his sleep.
This is now 2 unhappy customers in a row for Martin, and he is definitely going through some kind of crisis. His conscience, perhaps, or identity, maybe the quarter-life crisis, as time marches on. Marcella has lined up another job to smooth things over with the unhappy client, and it also happens to coincide with the high school reunion, both the timing and location.
The gods want you to go back home, and they want you to delete someone while you're there.
Martin goes to see his psychologist, Dr. Oatman, and talks about how he's feeling facing his 10-year reunion.
I'm not taking notes, Martin, because I'm not your doctor.
Martin is serious about his therapy, to the point he's confessed to Dr. Oatman what he does for a living. So the good doctor feels afraid of Martin and has the burden to inform the authorities of Martin's crimes.
Well, look, Martin, I don't want to suggest anything that might be uncomfortable for you, but you might just consider the possibility that part of your problem, part of the thing that's making you so miserable is the angst over killing a lot of people, maybe.
Dr. Oatman tells Martin he should go to the reunion and not kill anyone for a few days, but Martin is already scheduled for another hit nearby. A hit that was previously assigned to Grosser, who is not willing to lose out on the job so easily. Martin arrives in Grosse Pointe, a suburb of Detroit, where he went to high school, and he hears the voice of his high school sweetheart, Debbie Newberry, coming over the radio as he drives through town.
And as you know, this weekend is Pointe's High Class of '86 reunion.
As Martin reacquaints himself with his old stomping grounds, he visits his childhood home, which has tragically been turned into a convenience store. It makes me wonder where his parents are.
Marcella, never mind that. Find out where my mother is. I want my mom.
I don't have to wonder long. Martin's mom is in a care facility, possibly with early onset dementia, and Martin's dad is dead. So he's basically an orphan. Martin is also being followed by 2 other men, who look like feds, frankly. Anyway, Martin goes to the local radio station and reconnects with Debbie.
How long has it been?
Since you stood me up on prom night and vanished without a word?
Yeah. 10 years, I think.
Martin has previously confessed to Dr. Oatman that abandoning Debbie still plagues him. yet Martin has no idea how to reconcile with the woman whose heart he broke years ago.
Should a once broken-hearted girl give a guy a second chance?
Martin is already on high alert, given his dangerous and unique vocation, when he runs into an old friend from high school, Paul, who works as a successful real estate agent in Grosse Pointe.
I freaked out. I joined the army. I work for the government. I went into business with myself. I'm a professional killer.
He is a professional hitman, and he's been hired for a job, which he's procrastinating on. So much so, he won't even open the file to see who the target is. He's already spied out the dual feds who are tailing him, and another suspicious character who sticks out like a sore thumb. The guy follows Martin to his childhood home / mini-mart and immediately opens fire. A gunfight ensues that destroys the store, which is then blown up entirely.
I'm hurt. I'm pissed. Gotta find a new job.
While on a date with Debbie, Martin runs into the men who have been following him all over town. But he doesn't yet know that Grosser is also there.
Because we are not assassins, Mr. Grosser. We work for the American government.
I knew they were feds. I mean, I've seen this before. Marcella gives Martin the download on who else is in town that may be trying to kill him. The feds, of course, NSA agents, and the foreigner who already tried to take him out, and Martin still doesn't know who the target is yet. But he does have a date to the reunion. Grosser finally decides to reveal himself to Martin.
Fascinating. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Because I was going to have breakfast.
Grosser tells Martin that he will do the job Martin is supposed to do after Martin says this may be his last job. I guess he's considering leaving the profession altogether, if he can survive. The evening of the reunion arrives, and Martin begins to spiral, leaving Debbie to wait for him just like prom night 10 years earlier. When Martin eventually arrives, he talks to Debbie's father, Bart.
What have you been doing with your life?
Professional killer.
Oh, good for you. It's a growth industry.
The former sweethearts get to the party, and for some reason, Debbie is wearing Disney villain green. They start to make the rounds with their former classmates.
It was like I was sucked up into the cosmos.
With the party in full swing, the foreigner who shut up the mini-mart shows up to finish the job with Martin. The two fight it out with a sign behind them that states, "The future is unwritten," a message meant to inspire the students and evoke some hope for the future. But it's actually a sentiment that denies the creator and his sovereignty. Anyway, Martin prevails against his attacker, and Debbie finds this mess after the fact. Of course, she grapples with the reality of who Martin is.
He was gonna kill you, right?
Yes.
Martin comes clean to Debbie with some very honest self-realization and wants to leave that life behind, start fresh with an old flame. But Debbie cannot reconcile it.
Everything about you was the lie.
Meanwhile, back at the office, Marcella is destroying all the evidence, and Martin resigns himself to his chosen profession. He finally opens the file on the intended target he's been procrastinating on. The same target that Grosser vowed to take from Martin, which he now makes good on.
Either because I'm in love with your daughter or I have a newfound respect for life.
That punk is either in love with that guy's daughter or he has a newfound respect for life.
That's right. The target was Debbie's father this whole time. Martin gives more of his story to Debbie and her dad. Why he left and why he came back.
I had the sneaking dark suspicion that maybe there was meaning to life. You know, a point, like an organic connection between all living things. I don't know, God, a Yahweh, a higher power, I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Interesting. You rarely hear the name Yahweh in a movie, but I just need to correct something. The Most High isn't organic matter. He's spirit. So the connection between all living things is spiritual, not organic. A shootout ensues in the Newberry house as Martin confesses his true feelings for Debbie.
It's a reason, you know, my soul was empty. It's up to me to fill it.
Wrong again. We are all dead in our sin and made alive by the Spirit of the living God. We cannot do it ourselves or in our own strength.
And they worship the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast?"
Grosser quotes Revelation like he's some kind of prophet as the two hitmen face off finally. They momentarily join forces to take out the NSA agents until Martin overcomes by quick thinking and a large television. There's got to be some symbolism here. Death by programming? Debbie decides to give Martin another chance, and the two drive off into the sunset together. The final image is the topless car on the road and the city in green. The sixth commandment that Yahweh gave to Moses and the children of Israel was to not murder. And because of that, people often think that he can break his own law when he commands his people to go to war, wipe out nations, and seemingly murder innocent people with impunity. But we must understand that there is a difference between murder and killing. Murder specifically has to do with killing the innocent, and killing can be a consequence of rebellion. People who are killed in the Bible are so because they are wicked, not because they are innocent of wrongdoing. In Grosse Pointe Blank, Martin is a contract killer, and he repeatedly says that if he is hired to kill someone, it's because they did something to deserve it. He's not a murderer. He actually protects the innocent. Now, perhaps this is why the American government, and other governments, I'm sure, hire these contract killers. Not just hire them, but train them, equip them, and trigger them for the work. So it doesn't surprise me that Martin says he came into the work after being in the U.S. Army and then working for the government. But we want a biblical framework, not a conspiratorial one. Because while Martin may have been brainwashed, he isn't a sleeper agent by any means. Martin, and by extension, Grosse, seem like prophets. The contracted ones who exact the seeming righteous judgment against evildoers in the world. Of course, the prophets in the Bible didn't necessarily kill people, except for maybe Elijah and the prophets of Baal. But the prophets did hear directly from Yahweh, and they instructed the kings of Israel and Judah and warned the people of impending judgment. While I normally see a lot of symbolism in the first 5 minutes, this movie showed us more in the last 5 minutes. Here we have Martin saying the name Yahweh as the meaning of life. And we also have Grosse quoting Revelation, speaking of the beast system that will take over the world in the end of days. But this is Hollywood Babylon we're talking about, so of course it's reversed and inverted. These prophets only worked for themselves, only answered to themselves. Marcella, Martin's assistant, was the one with L in her name, making her seem like the Most High, the one who brought Martin the jobs and made everything happen for him. She was very behind the scenes and never left the office. On the other hand, there was a father figure here, Debbie's dad, the target who had not done anything to deserve death, yet approved of Martin as being a contract killer himself. So maybe Bart Newberry is more like the Most High. After all, his daughter is the one who wears the Disney green, most often associated with villains. I've spoken about this particular shade of green before, but in case you're new here, Disney villain green is, in my opinion, Hollywood's way to villainize the dwelling place of the Most High. You see, when anyone saw a vision of the throne room in heaven, they describe it with many colors, but especially as a rainbow of light that appears like an emerald. Emerald is also the fourth gem that makes up the walls of the holy city Jerusalem, and Judah is the fourth son of Israel, the tribe from which Messiah came. I didn't forget about the Feds, the NSA agents who represent duality, and the secret societies and three-letter agencies. But all they did was watch and didn't act in their full capacity until they were taken out by the prophets, Martin and Grosse. In the end, Grosse was killed by programming, and Martin was wooed by a would-be bride. And it's hard to say if he's betraying the Most High or coming into service of the Most High. But these are just speculations and opinions. As always, don't take my word for it. Know the word for yourself. So thank you for enduring to the end. Give the video a thumbs up if you agree and a thumbs down if you disagree. Comment below what you think I missed with this one and to suggest any 90s movie you'd like me to deconstruct in the future. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this, but don't follow me. Follow the one who saves you. And until next time, keep looking up.
When I'm out walking, I strut my stuff and I'm so strung out. I'm high as a kite.
Yeah, we all have to go sometime, sir, but we can choose when.
No one chooses when.